will dissolve it.
Basically, all of our rain is acidic. It's a very weak acid. It's probably less acidic than orange juice, but it will still, over time, dissolve that rock.
Over hundreds of thousands of years, seasonal rains drain down into the secret world below the surface and penetrate the bedrock. The acidic waters eat away the limestone and form caves hidden from the surface. Dr. John Arthur demonstrates how a mild acid that could not harm human skin will actually dissolve limestone.
This is weak hydrochloric acid. This is a highly accelerated chemical reaction that you're going to see when I drip this onto the limestone. But you'll see the chemical reaction, the bubbles. What happens here over seconds takes decades to occur naturally. The acid is dissolving the limestone and putting dissolved calcium into the groundwater and very slowly eating away at the limestone rock and creating the cavities that form sinkholes.
One thing that really plays into the equation of dissolvable rock is the humid environment. Basically, areas that are kind of east of the 30 inches per year precipitation tend to be more dissolvable prone, at least for limestone.
And it's not just Florida. Consider this alarming fact. This type of bedrock covers 1/5 of the planet and lurks below 40% of the United States.
States like Missouri and Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Tennessee, and then, of course, almost the entire state of Florida.
Florida's Devil's Den sinkhole is a gateway to a vast cave system with elaborate hidden waterways that eat their way through the limestone.
This sinkhole is also the entrance to a cave system within the aquifer system in Florida, which provides 92% of Florida's population with drinking water.
Earth's aquifers are systems that store water underground in the bedrock. Although most humans consider sinkholes to be a dangerous menace, they're actually part of Earth's natural water distribution system.
Sinkholes and caves are a natural conduit to our groundwater. They allow the precipitation that falls on the Earth's surface to go underground. That underground water then becomes something that we can extract and we can use and we rely on every single day.
The water level in the Devil's Den reveals a major clue, a secret contributor to some sinkhole collapses.
We pump water from the ground to be able to irrigate the crops. So when you do that, you drop that groundwater level, and that buoyancy that you had to be able to stabilize that soil and rock, you lose that. So in times of drought, or times of overpumping, let's say, and you drop that water table, you kind of lose that buoyancy, and we do see increased amount of sinkholes.
Florida's Sinkhole Alley may be the most dangerous sinkhole area in the country. But in 2014, in America's heartland, one of these subterranean monsters claimed the most stunning victims yet.
Stay tuned for your Local on the 8s, brought to you by Olive Garden's all-new lunch menu with over 100 ways to enjoy lunch.
The best lunch option is more options. From all-time classics to brand new favorites, there are over 100 ways to enjoy lunch at Olive Garden, starting at $7.99. The choice is yours, only at Olive Garden.
Currently in our area, 79 degrees under cloudy skies. Tonight, late night thunderstorms. Low 70. Chance of rain 60%. Tuesday, thunderstorms likely. High 83. Chance of rain 80%. Locally heavy rainfall possible. Tuesday night, a few clouds from time to time. Low 66. Winds north-northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
I saved hundreds when I switched my car insurance to Geico. This is how it made me feel. It was like that feeling when you pull your green sock out of the dryer, and then the very next sock is the other green one. And then you pull out 2 blue ones. And you keep going till you've matched every single sock in perfect order. And the owner of the laundromat is so impressed, he hangs a picture of you next to the dryer.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Sure you don't want me to come with you?
I'm very sure.
Because I can. I make good choices.
You make good choices.
Delicious high-fiber raisin bran.
I am. Fiber is good for digestive health. Steve.
Good choices never tasted so good.
Whether you're this kind of active or this kind of active, new Poise Active Collection pads have no slip wings and are 5 times drier, so you can stay you and stay amazing. Poise, the #1 brand for light bladder leaks.
Frisky's World.
Whoa, so many choices.
Look, extra gravy.
And little soups.
There's the shreds.
Yeah, Frisky's has it all.
I want it all. Can I have it all?
Feed their fantasy.
Frisky's.
And the record for longest lasting AA battery goes to Energizer Ultimate Lithium, Guinness World Records title holder for longest lasting AA battery.
We used to be so stressed from all the demands on our time, but then our doctor prescribed us something that changed our lives.
It's called sleep. It's like being awake, but you feel good.
And ever since we bought a Purple mattress, this sleep thing has been taken to a whole new level.
The Purple Grid cradles your pressure points while keeping you cool, unlike memory foam that heats you up like a weird lingering hug. Try Purple today. If you're not 100% satisfied after 100 nights, you can return it for a full refund.
Purple, the best thing since sleep.
Choose a free Purple product with mattress purchase.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. See disclaimer for law firms.
Attention cancer victims who use the weed killer Roundup. A federal jury unanimously found that Monsanto's popular weed killer Roundup was a substantial factor in causing cancer. You may be entitled to financial compensation. If you or a loved one used Roundup weed killer and were diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, call the number on your screen now.
Call 800-827-2607.
February 12th, 2014. The National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
February 12th was a day I don't think anyone that's associated with Corvette or our community will ever forget.
In the early morning hours, the museum's marketing and communications manager gets word that an alarm has gone off. And the fire department is on the scene.
The Skydome building of the museum houses 27 cars, and of that, 8 of them fell in.
This sinkhole was huge. Nearly twice the size of the one in Florida that swallowed Jeff Bush. It measured 40 feet in diameter and exposed a deep cave thousands of years old. It was 90 feet down from the floor of the museum to the floor of the cave.
In the city of Bowling Green, there was a ton of fear about the sinkhole. Mostly people didn't understand what was going on, and so once they hear that 8 Corvettes had been swallowed by a sinkhole, they immediately thought that they were going to be the next ones to go.
The state of Kentucky is one of the Earth's prime sinkhole areas. 50% of its surface is underlain by the porous bedrock, mostly limestone, that scientists call karst terrain. It's the perfect environment for caverns that collapse into sinkholes.
In Kentucky, we have a little over 5,000 caves known and documented.
The museum was constructed in the 1990s, before the best practices for building in potential sinkhole areas were fully understood and regulated. Since it was on a hilltop, the museum site seemed to be safe. But in karst areas, a hilltop can collapse just as easily as low-lying land. The karst below the surface can be dramatically sculpted by water.
If water kind of comes in a valley, we get what we call pinnacles of rock that stick up like the pinnacles on a castle, and cutters, which are sort of valleys. And those cutters typically have a crack underneath them that water is going in. And so we get water and soil, and that's how we get the sinkholes. And the Corvette Museum had the misfortune of being built right on top of something that was there without knowing that there was a sinkhole.
Before the cars could be removed from the hole, scientists had to get an up-close look.
We got lowered down and we were rigged up on ropes, safety ropes for doing vertical work so we could move around.
The cavern itself was over 200 feet long.
As we went in, started to realize that it looked like it was a very old cave and something that had obviously been here for thousands of years. If you look at the collapse, you see a lot of soil at the top, and then you see where the bedrock starts to come into play. And as you see the rock, you see sort of layers, and it opens up. And so the cave goes off that way to the north and kind of peels down into that bell shape. And same thing happens on this side.
What caused this ancient underground cave to finally swallow up the land above? Scientists believe that a major rain event in the week prior to the collapse may have been the final factor to cause the disaster. It's suspected that the weight from the added rain, along with the weight of the building's concrete floor and all those Corvettes on display, caused catastrophic failure in the cave's unstable roof. This sudden destruction was a blessing in disguise for the museum. The site gained worldwide attention.
We ended up adding a couple more webcams so people could watch it from home.
Then, a massive project began to get the cars out of the sinkhole. The first Corvette pulled out of the hole gave the museum a lot of hope.
We started with the 2009 Blue Devil ZR1, and they pulled the car out. It looks like it's in really great shape considering the tumble it took into the sinkhole. And even better, they cranked it up. It ran, drove a few feet, and the whole room cheered.
But the final Corvettes had been at the bottom under tons of rock and debris.
The last one to come out, it looked like a little piece of tin foil. You probably wouldn't have even known it was a car, except it did still have a tire attached.
With the Corvettes removed, scientists made a thorough examination of the cave and determined there's no imminent danger of further collapse. The sinkhole should not grow any larger. The museum is finalizing a strategy for ensuring the long-term stability of the property and has no plans to move.
After the sinkhole, our attendance has been up about 60%. We started to see lots of families, people that were really interested in what they had seen on TV, people that are interested in caves and sinkholes that otherwise would not have stopped in. We never in a million years would have guessed that this sinkhole would have gotten the media attention and the public's attention like it has.
While most sinkholes form in places built over limestone, there is another frightening way they can erupt and swallow up entire city blocks.
It's easy to shrink into your own little world. Especially these days.
I think it's here.
especially at this age.
Where are we going?
It's a big, beautiful world out there. Sometimes you just need a little help seeing it.
The three-row Subaru Ascent. Love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Get 0% during the Subaru A Lot to Love event.
Don't even. I'm serious.
Yes! Frito-Lay variety packs, packed with possibilities.
Get your passport to style and savings at Lumber Liquidators Flooring Company. Save up to 41% on hardwood floors, and select bamboo floors are 15% off, plus 12 months special financing. Lumber Liquidators, beautiful floors for less.
Let's get down to business. The business of road trips, adventure, and reconnecting. Modernized Comfort Inns and Suites have been refreshed because our business is you. Get the lowest price guaranteed on all Choice Hotels when you book direct at choicehotels.com.
I'm Jimmy Dean, and I wish I could tell you how I feel about a morning like this. And that includes a good hearty breakfast. You need something to kind of warm the whole body up and get it going. It's a great way to kick off your day.
There were ants everywhere, thousands of them. And the problem was too big for us, but not for Orkin. And Sarah, she's organized, she's meticulous, she's like a part of the family.
And she can do backflips on the trampoline.
Wow.
Right, easy. Oops. Good.
Get everything you need to go back big at the low prices you love.
So Josh, you going for our Drive Safe and Safe discount?
Yep, using the app, driving safe. You wanna go, bro? Do not mess with my discount.
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save. You know that look? That life of the party look. Walk it off look. 1 more mile look. Reply all look. Own your look with fewer lines. There's only one Botox cosmetic. It's the only one FDA approved to temporarily make frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better. The effects of Botox cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Do not receive Botox cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow, eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Tell your doctor about your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. So give that just saw a puppy look, and whatever that look is. Look like you with fewer lines. Own your look with the one and only Botox cosmetic.
Natural sinkholes erupt when underground caves swallow up the land above. But the presence of man-made infrastructure in the earth can cause an artificial version of this frightening phenomenon. Guatemala City, 2010. Tropical storm Agatha inundates the city with more than 4 inches of rain in just 12 hours. In its aftermath, a giant sinkhole tears apart an entire intersection in a downtown residential zone. It leaves a gaping hole 65 feet across and 100 feet deep. There wasn't a single warning sign, and Guatemala City isn't even built on limestone like Florida. How could it just suddenly occur?
When you look at the pictures, it looks like a bottomless pit.
Guatemala City is built on layers of ancient volcanic ash. After the heavy rains, a broken sewer pipe.
Sewer systems take that ash as it goes. So that's really the connection between the kind of the geology and the volcanoes and the human interaction.
In America, aging infrastructure also has led to dramatic man-made sinkholes, like the one that struck on Los Angeles' famous Sunset Boulevard in 2014. A nearly 100-year-old water main burst below the street, creating a massive flood that washed away the surrounding sediment and created a 30-foot wide sinkhole.
If you think of that storm drain as a man-made cave and you have a crack in it, and that soil then falls down into that, you can create basically a sinkhole. And this happens a lot in our cities. And these days, with the aging infrastructure, I think we're seeing it more often.
And it's not just aging infrastructure. How did man cause this bizarre underwater sinkhole? In this case, it wasn't the roof of a cave that collapsed, but the wall of a man-made salt mine more than a mile below the surface. It gave way in August of 2012, dragging sediment from above down through a hole in the mine wall and creating a sinkhole at the surface that filled with groundwater. The flooded sinkhole grew from 325 feet to 25 acres and is expected to grow even larger. This video was actually shot a year later as the sinkhole continued to expand and swallow up 100-foot trees. Man-made sinkholes are impossible to predict. But what about natural sinkholes? Is there any way that Florida resident Jeff Bush or the officials at the Kentucky Corvette Museum could have known that they were living and working on dangerous ground? Since sinkholes form as water carves caverns into bedrock, to figure out where the next one might happen, it takes a scientist who has his own private cave. Missouri's Ozark Underground Laboratory is spread over hundreds of acres of land pockmarked by sinkholes and cut by natural streams, underground rivers, springs, and a massive cave complex.
I own the cave and have for about 45 years. It's a research center, and we do educational field programs. We've done a number of studies here.
60% of Missouri is underlain by the sinkhole-prone bedrock known as karst terrain, and makes the perfect natural laboratory to study ways of hunting for future sinkholes. Many potential sinkholes have no discernible entrances, but there is a method for coaxing secrets directly from the earth, using its age-old component, water. The science of dye tracing uses fluorescent dyes to follow water flow through underground streams and layers of bedrock.
Dye tracing does a great job of helping us find new sinkholes. When we do those dye traces, sometimes we even find that it lets us see where a large cave system is, and we can find often that sinkholes have opened all along the roof of that cave. And that lets us know sometimes where the next sinkhole is going to be, or where there's a cluster of sinkholes or a group of sinkholes that are following a linear path or sort of a curving trend.
This nearby sinkhole serves as an entry point to begin the dye tracing process.
The fundamental thing dye tracing would tell us about a particular sinkhole is what it is connected to. Where does that water go downstream? What I'm going to do here is introduce a little bit of fluorescein dye so we can show the connection between this sinkhole and the cave system. This dye is excellent for tracing water. It's highly detectable. That's why I wear the gloves. Our detection limit in water samples is 2 parts per billion. So by wearing the gloves, I'm not contaminating samples or something later.
The non-toxic dyes leave a very exact fingerprint so they can be detected later through a device called a spectroscope.
I'll pour it in the water slowly to get a good mix, and it will go down the sinkhole and into the cave system.
Water is sampled at various points before being taken to the lab to look for traces of dye.
What we have here is a charcoal packet that contains 4.25 grams of chemically activated charcoal. And what happens is the dye will adsorb onto the charcoal so that we can analyze this charcoal later on in the lab. Even these little bitty drips of water, we can detect fluorescein down in the parts per billion.
When enough data is gathered, a water map can indicate potential sinkholes in an otherwise inaccessible cave system.
Dye tracing can sometimes give us information as to where additional sinkholes might lead because it shows what the flow path is.
Dye tracing has been used to survey groundwater near factories, highways, and rail lines. And it has helped avert catastrophe where previously unknown sinkholes have been discovered and avoided. Today, dye tracing is being used in Bowling Green, Kentucky, home of the Corvette Museum, to map water flow and locate potentially dangerous sinkholes. In Florida, ongoing dye tracing projects, as well as laser scanning, are helping officials create ever more detailed maps of underground water flow and potential sinkholes. Like earthquake maps that identify potentially dangerous fault lines, these maps should give Florida residents a clearer picture of the hazards beneath their feet. While scientists work to uncover the secret of where the next sinkhole might strike, new collapses continue to make headlines. Are sinkholes actually becoming more frequent? And is mankind the hidden cause?
How do you know you can trust PPG paint? Because the proof is all around you. The planes you fly in and the homes you return to. With over 135 years of experience, you can trust the paint that's all around you. Paint with PPG.
Bon and Viv Spike Seltzer has 0 grams of sugar.
It's light and refreshing, perfect to drink by any ocean. Like this one.
Or by an unsalted ocean.
To be their best, kids need good nutrition and practice. Lots of practice. Get them started right with Carnation Breakfast Essentials. It has protein plus vitamins and minerals to help kids be their best. Carnation Breakfast Essentials.
When you're not able to smile, you become closed off. I felt withdrawn, alone.
Having to live with bad teeth for so long was extremely depressing. Now I know how happy I am.
There was all the feeling good about myself that I missed. I wish that I had gone to Aspen Dental on day 1 and not waited 3 years.
At Aspen Dental, we're all about yes. Like yes to flexible hours and payment options. Yes to free exam and x-rays for new patients without insurance. And yes, whenever you're ready to get started, we are too. Call now at 1-800-ASPEN-DENTAL.
So Kim, you going for a big Drive Safe and Save discount?
Yep, using the app. I've been quite vigilant.
Sharon says step on it, the meeting started.
Okay, write her back. Dear Sharon, don't mess with my discount.
Faster, Mommy, I gotta go to the bathroom.
I do too, honey, but we're gonna hold it for Mommy's discount.
Easy, easy. But you're in labor.
Don't mess with my discount!
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save from State Farm.
We'd love some help with laundry. Spray and scrub anything with a stain. Wash the really dirty clothes separately.
New Tide Pods with upgraded 4-in-1 technology unleash a foolproof clean in one step.
Oh, you did the laundry.
It's got to be Tide.
Here's your Buick, sir. Actually, that's my Buick.
Your Buick doesn't have a roof rack. This is my Buick.
How are we gonna fit in your mom's Buick?
Easy.
I like that new Buick.
Me too.
I was actually talking about that Buick.
I knew that.
Did you?
Buick's fresh new lineup is full of surprises. Current eligible non-GM owners and lessees get 20% below MSRP on most 2019 Buick Encore models.
At Domino's, we're more than just pizza for $5.99. We're $5.99 bread twists, $5.99 sandwiches, $5.99 pastas, $5.99 chicken, and yes, $5.99 pizza too. We didn't stop at pizza, and you don't have to either.
Remember imagination? Where anything could happen. Where sun-made raisins taste like sour-flavored mixed berries, watermelons, even strawberries. Where fun grows naturally for miles. Puckers can be smiles. And fruit snacks can simply be whole fruit. Sun-made sour raisin snacks. No added sugar, no fake colors, just great sour flavor. Imagine that.
This is insane. Oh my God.
This can give you the easiest way out of a deadly situation.
Unfreaking believable.
It's impossible to look away from it.
Your heart's just beating.
It was just like a bomb had gone off in this town.
Oh my God.
Sinkholes are not a new phenomenon on planet Earth. In the ancient past, Earth's human population treated them with great reverence.
A lot of the cultures across the world, like the Mayan culture in Central America, were built around karst areas.